Welcome back. You got Will and Iman here from the Block Runner, MetaZone, Rovi, and Mscribe, and we got another Ordinal Takeover.
Another one, dude. Crazy week, too. That's crazy timing because there's a major spectacle of an event happening as we speak.
Yep, in Amsterdam.
Yeah, another corner of the world, which unfortunately we weren't able to attend.
Yeah.
But we have all...
We had a lot of people ask us. I was like, are you going? And we're like, no.
I guess, yeah, it's definitely in our bucket list. So most likely, I think, I don't know, from like a personal standpoint, once we get like more development done with the things that we're working on.
Yeah, I agree.
Like we're in the midst of like too much like building, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, once we get past like the hardcore builder mode phase, and you know, maybe we'll start attending these conferences with you guys.
You know, building is the easy part. I think it's the planning and designing. That's the hard part.
Yeah. That's up and down. You know, both sides have their, you know,
trade-offs,
exactly.
Ups and downs.
it's an interesting process, but nonetheless, we're in full support of all you guys who are there, and we're paying close attention to the headlines that are going to, you know, generate from this.
Speaking of, Snowden showed up digitally, virtually, through Zoom at Amsterdam, and he said this. He thought that Ordinals was one of the most interesting new things on Bitcoin.
I mean, it sounds like a home run statement, I guess, like home run headline. But when you really think about it, it's like the most obvious. What could possibly be more interesting on Bitcoin than Ordinals? Like Bitcoin has literally been like a nothing fest for many years now.
Yeah, I agree. Because they qualify this is the most interesting thing on Bitcoin.
At Bitcoin Amsterdam. And I'll be honest, dude, I was watching the live stream.
Yeah.
And it was mostly just a bunch of maxis on stage talking about, you know, the typical Bitcoin stuff. It's like, oh man.
What is there to talk about if you're a maxi?
You know, fucking custodian this, custodian that, you know, Bitcoin is digital gold this. And it's like, you see what's going on, all those wars? You know, Bitcoin fixes that.
Yeah.
Stuff like this. And it's like, man.
That's boring.
I was snoozing.
How many more years of this?
Yeah. I was waiting for the Ordinals mentions, right? And then they have Ordinals in like a fucking broom closet somewhere. Like the Ordinals, like, you know.
And not only that, the whole set looks like a bitmap.
I don't even know. I don't think they did that intentionally, right? So definitely look for some videos of the live stream recordings. It is kind of hilarious. Like they have like these bitmap renderings all over the place as decor.
Yeah.
Right? That's awesome. So it's good to watch. It's like I said, it's a spectacle. But yeah, I mean, right now Ordinals is still like a speckle, even within the Bitcoin, I think, ecosystem.
That's so
like
crazy.
Community. I know it is, right?
Yeah, it's weird. It's like
it's early days, dude.
Huh.
Early days. So, yeah, shout out BitGod, who I know is there. And there's several people that we've interviewed over the last few weeks who are attending at the moment right now. So,
yeah.
So that's good. That's very good for the whole space. You get all these people kind of like get them together in a room and start networking and stuff. That's when magic starts to happen, you know?
Yeah.
Teams start to form.
This is where the magic happens, I mean.
Yeah, dude. Once you get everyone in the room together, you know? Some magic out there, especially in Amsterdam. They're all gonna start smoking a little, you know what, a little ganj to get the idea juices flowing, you know.
For sure.
Before you know it, you got DeFi.
Yeah,
something I don't know.
Or DMT, right?
Yeah. We didn't even need that, dude. That's what's wild.
That's true. All right, so shout out to Danny Yang. Hopefully we get you on the podcast so we can chat it up. All right, next, Magic Eden. Rare Sats platform is now live.
Dude, Rare Sats is like consistently doing its thing, man.
So Rare Sats Society coming out Saturday, right?
That's right. Yeah, we had a good interview with the founder of Rare Sats Society, probably like the GOAT of Rare Sat hunters.
Yeah, they volume wise, I think they traded like $5 billion.
Correct. So it's pretty interesting. It's an interesting conversation. We definitely got deep into like the Rare Sat ethos.
Yeah.
And we definitely have a lot of alignment between, you know, what it is that we think is like most important about what's innovating here on Bitcoin.
Yeah.
And Rare Sats is definitely one of those. So,
dude,
apparently we're not the only ones who think so. You know, like these platforms are integrating.
Imagine moving $5 billion, dude.
I can't. I just can't even. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
In my brain.
Yeah. I guess if you guys don't know, what they did was in terms of volume, they moved $5 billion into an exchange and out.
Yeah.
And they were sifting through rare sats.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how they did it. All right. So good on Magic Eden supporting rare sats. Good update to the website. Manage, extract, split rare sats from UTXOs. Okay, yeah, they're supporting the whole gambit here. All right, another one, Atomicals. So we had A on the podcast recently. I guess this one's going to be released sometime next week.
Yes. So this one is probably one of the more interesting ones. Just to kind of like throw a little pre-hype out there.
We went deep on this one. It was more than an hour long.
Exactly. Yeah, just because there's so much to talk about, and it's so interesting, and it's I don't know. I just really want to see this whole thing play out, just because it feels like a superior, I guess, like technology infrastructure to
That's
enable.
That's what it seems like.
But like we've said in the past, like typically it's not always like what's best tech wise that wins out, right?
No, it's the one with the most traction, the most ingrained user base,
community. I guess community is pretty much everything in all respects.
Yeah.
And if you have a massive community already like aligned with whatever it is, it's really hard to kind of like break that. Right? Yeah. Even if you come with something that's like technically superior. So I just want to see all that play out. Maybe this time it'll go the other way.
Yeah, what I like about Atomicals is that it's not an idea. It's already been implemented.
Correct. So in this case, here it is. If you want your realm, if you also believe Atomicals is a big deal and that ecosystem will flourish and maybe one day rival what's happened with Ordinals.
Yeah.
It's probably not a bad idea to secure a realm name. It's kind of like if you ever thought Ethereum was going to do well, probably not a bad idea to secure your ENS.
Speaking of, ENS is being supported by Decentraland, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so now you can deploy a Decentraland world on your ENS domain. That's pretty good.
Correct.
They have like 30,000 holders, dude.
Yeah. So, 30,000. It's way more than that.
I think, there's more names, but I think
there's got to be way more holders than that too.
Hold on, let's double check.
We're spilling over into the wrong ecosystem.
Yeah,
dude.
we are. But
this is not Bitcoin. All right, dude. Quickly before we upset the crowd, OpenSea.
Wait,
they have an Ordinals page now.
Well, hold up. Here it is.
3 million names. Look at that. 800,000 owners, dude.
That's insane.
Yeah. Is that more or less?
Well, that's definitely more, dude. Yeah. You were thinking 30,000. That's how many people are holding like SAT domains, I think, roughly.
Yeah, I guess I was getting confused, but that's a ton of people.
Well, now you understand why the Ordinals like stage is in a broom closet over there at Bitcoin Amsterdam. Once we get to these like figures, the main stage it's gonna be called the Ordinal conference at Amsterdam.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and the reason why I bring this up because if you believe in like these domain names, imagine a realm name, a domain name on Bitcoin that has a ton of functionality, and that's what Atomicals does.
Yeah, agreed.
Right. So claim your realm name for your brand digital identity. This is your Web3 digital passport powered by Bitcoin. RNS is the world's first permissionless name system to replace domains built on Bitcoin using Atomicals protocol. So this is very interesting. So we touch a little bit about realms during our podcast. It's like tons of functionality and potential here.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A big topic, BitVM. So we did a video on this recently. BitVM is a virtual machine. Aims to enhance Bitcoin smart contract capabilities without a fork. So this is leveraging the Taproot upgrade, and this got a ton of traction over this last week. I mean, a ton of people were commenting. And it was by a developer from Zero Sync's co-founder. His name is Robin Linus. And so he unveiled this white paper recently, and it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like it's leveraging the idea of like having some sort of off-chain computation and then on-chain verification.
Correct.
A prover and a verifier.
Correct.
So
there's definitely like a lot of just healthy discussion, I guess, happening amongst the Bitcoin community, like whether or not, like, I mean, this is the state of the infrastructure right now. Like, which directions do we go? This is like one of the first times where like Casey Rodimer actually isn't like in charge as far as like, navigating the direction.
Yeah.
Maybe for now, maybe he'll come up with like, you know what?
Ordinal VM.
Yeah, exactly. So as of right now, like this is to me, a good, I guess, adjustment of focus, because increasing the robustness of the Bitcoin ecosystem has always been like what I've been looking for, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Bringing more programmability to these like token economies.
We might have to expand the segment to Bitcoin Takeover, dude. Not Ordinal Takeover.
That's very possible. Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, Ordinals has a lot of traction, dude. I mean,
it does.
Yeah, I mean, there's other primitives within the Ordinals ecosystem that could also potentially contribute to more robustness.
Yeah, I guess one of the things that surprises me the most is that Bitcoin has like this whole breadth of like functionality and capability.
Yeah.
Right. Outside of just pictures, we have this BitVM. We have Atomicals. Like, there's a lot that can be done on top of Bitcoin.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think that's the big breakthrough realization here. And there's enough smart people kind of like honed in on this objective of just unlocking more, I guess, potential for Bitcoin.
Yeah.
That seems to be like the focus of this year. Probably by next year, 2024, we're going to see all that come to fruition, and some killer products actually starting to hit the market and, garnering some attention.
And that's really why we talk about this, because as long as we stay ahead of this, we can start using the different technologies, seeing how it fits with what we're trying to do with bitmaps and enabling functionality closest to on-chain as possible, and seeing what, all this like turns into. Mm-hmm. Okay, so next, Bob Bodley.
So here's his take.
Yeah, so he breaks down BitVM limitations and moving forward. So he had a couple of tweets on explaining everything.
And we should have Bob on the channel soon with the podcast, maybe the next week or two or so.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to break down all of this, what's going on with Layer 2, what's going on with ICP's integration to Bitcoin, what's going on with BitVM. Like, Bob knows best in most cases. So we're definitely going to break it all down at a technical level. So it should be interesting. So definitely tune into that if you want to get like the inside look.
Yeah, his bionic market, it's leveraging ICP, and he's recommending everybody to build on ICP.
Yeah, mostly because it's the only like viable existing solution as of today, right? A lot of these incoming solutions are probably better.
Yeah.
But they're just, who knows how long they'll take to implement. It's one of those things.
So he thinks it's better than Stacks?
I think like Stacks is still like also like wait and see mode until they release like SBTC and all these different, the Nakamoto release, all that stuff.
Okay.
So yeah, Bob will tell us.
Yeah.
So keep an eye out for that one for sure.
All right. So
speaking of Stacks,
here's Manip. So he says BitVM is an interesting research experiment or a limited prover, but it's not a VM. And Bitcoin L1 is not verifying anything here. BitVM uses Bitcoin L1 as a data plane, and then two parties can exchange offline and online data to play a game with each other. Mm-hmm. So he gives an example. In that game, the two parties play with each other. One is a prover, and the other is a verifier. The prover tries to prove certain computations. This is very different from a full VM like Ethereum or Solana. So he's basically saying that it's very linear, very narrow, and Ethereum and Solana have computations that are essentially on-chain versus Bitcoin that's not on-chain.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so he's advocating for, I guess, because Stacks is the smart contract layer that obviously he's pioneering, right?
Yeah.
But that's also not technically on-chain to Bitcoin, right? That's on Stacks, and then of course, packaged and rolled into Bitcoin at some point.
Correct.
Which, I mean,
there's trade-offs.
Yeah.
There's going to be trade-offs. And it's difficult to know because right now BitVM is just a white paper. Mm-hmm. Hasn't been implemented or anything. So,
but it is interesting though, like, and I feel for Manip here because it's like there's this whole like emphasis on trying to figure out how to, bring in like smart contract level programmability and functionality to this Bitcoin ecosystem. And because and Manip's like, what the hell, guys? It's like, I've already done all this for you. Like, why don't you just tell everyone to come my way?
Yeah.
Right. But for whatever reason, the community just really doesn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just more like an elegant method to figure it out how to do it this way.
Yeah.
As opposed to, let's all just rely on stacks, probably centralization issues as well.
Yeah.
With L2s,
Man, I'd definitely like to have Manip on. He's got so much knowledge about this. He's probably looking at ordinals and be like, come on, guys.
You think so?
Probably.
Yeah, but if that's truly his stance and he's like, man, come on, guys. But at the same time, he's like, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, I gotta like still kind of like
play along,
bend the knee because this is what you guys want, right?
Yeah.
It's interesting, man. This ecosystem's getting pretty weird.
And look at this. As developers in the Bitcoin ecosystem, we need to be careful about marketing. Most users are not technical and can take the wrong message. With Taproot, we saw marketing messages like Bitcoin L1 DeFi is finally here, whereas Taproot was nowhere close to a full VM. We should avoid making a similar mistake with BitVM. It's not a virtual machine and does not enable smart contracts at Bitcoin L1. It's an R&D prover that might lead to some new use cases for L1 that we have yet to consider.
I see. So he just wants to classify this is just an experiment. Let's not put the message out there that we've solved.
Yeah, smart contracts on Bitcoin.
Exactly, and I definitely agree with him on that. Let's not get everyone like a false picture of what's actually happening.
Yeah, agreed.
Unless it actually is like that impactful and that much of a breakthrough, then you better prove it.
Yeah,
build something of substance, and then then we can all kind of agree.
Yeah,
Till then. Let's move on.
Yeah. That's why I like Atomicals, because they said it and they did it.
Correct.
All right. Next up here, we got...
Speaking of Atomicals.
Very
nice segues today, dude.
Yeah, I know, right? So the future Atomicals framework will leverage techniques such as novel BitVM invention. So we got a little bit of support here from Atomicals. It fits perfectly into the computing paradigm we have envisioned for Atomicals, and it's a wonderful timing to have such a powerful building block at our disposal. Expect more from us from this area of development in the future.
Boom. There you go, dude. If you're looking for you just said how much you appreciate and like Atomicals, implementation, I guess, styling.
Yeah, dude, this is so interesting. It's like Atomicals, when we spoke to A, it seems like people who develop on Bitcoin, they know so much about Bitcoin and like its platform in terms of development that you'd think that they would see everything. Like you could see something like BitVM come up, but they didn't, right? So it's weird how there's a lot more than meets the eye with Bitcoin.
Well, that's the power of like open source, right? It's just you never know what somebody else is working on, whether or not that new proposal or that new innovative concept or idea is going to become composable with something that you're working on. And now we're building a cohesive infrastructure layer here, which is
why couldn't we use everything? Why not?
Yeah.
Why not have like a project that leverages Ordinals and Atomicals and BitVM to like create something useful?
I definitely think we're probably heading in that direction.
Yeah.
Probably. But yeah, we'd have to ask a real dev, like what is preferable? Like this, let's use it all approach, or like this, we need everything to kind of like consolidate into one like usable stack.
It depends on the developer. If you don't need everything, you're not gonna. If you don't need Ordinals, why use Ordinals, right? Okay, so interesting take by Atomicals here.
Yeah, so a lot is happening for sure. Oh, here we go. So we got big update for you Sats bag holders, which basically is all of
everybody.
Us. Yeah.
All right, so it says DJ Bubblegum says, bad news, Sats is no longer a meme. Good news is Unisat decided to use Sats as gas. The utility of Sats is rising, and this will give a killer run in the next bull run. Never fade Sats. So it says, upon the mainnet launch, we are inclined to charge Sats, which is the BRC20 Sats, as gas fees for BRC20 assets on layer 2. Apart from effectively reducing network fees to an expected 1/5, another advantage is the increased functionality and utility of BRC20 assets. Okay, so that's a pretty interesting utilization of a BRC20 token.
Yeah, and just for them to kind of like pick one out of the crowd, I guess, of obviously many BRC20 tokens have been minted, but this one has very unique uniqueness to it, I guess, from attributes perspective and how it could be leveraged as a utility. Yeah. Instead of Unisat just coming out and saying, hey, here's our own token, we're going to use this as like,
Yeah. Yeah, why not that?
Well, why? If we have sats,
Yeah, I
Let's
guess.
just leverage something that's already taken 6 months to fairly distribute as opposed to like, I guess they could just airdrop to their existing user base.
That would be very expensive.
Yeah, so. Nonetheless, this is good. So this is like one of the first times we've seen like a BRC20 token actually get like adoption.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Yeah, so here's kind of the breakdown. So it says BRC20 swap release schedule and kind of goes into detail.
Yeah, there's actually a lot within this blog post about Unisat and its upcoming, release. And there's a lot of information about fee structuring, whenever the mainnet is going to be deployed, and of course more information about the gas utilization.
I wonder how
swapping
many
mechanisms.
I wonder how many Sats tokens is going to take for transactions.
That's a good question, dude.
Because we got billions of these things.
Yeah. Well, isn't it? What do you mean billions? It's like quadrillions, isn't it?
No, I know, but everybody has like billions.
Yeah,
right?
True. Yeah. So this is interesting, dude. So it's kind of like Binance has BNB token, right? Like as like their gas mechanism.
Yeah, to reduce the fees. Yeah.
Correct. So yeah, like they easily could have just done a Unisat token, like we've seen all other like
yeah. Why not?
Dexes and sexes do. Why not? I don't know. Maybe this is the way, dude. Sats is truly the way. Huh. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that's it for us. Yeah, if we missed anything, let us know in the comment section below. And so if you're in Amsterdam, definitely let us know how it's going.
Yeah, we should have some inside scoop from some of the attendees by next week, hopefully. So
yeah,
I'm pretty sure it's going to get pretty bullish over there, even though right now the current existing status of the Ordinals community is in a broom closet in context of like the maxi crowd.
Right.
But I don't think, but I think by this time next year, there's going to be a serious takeover, hence our name, right?
Yeah.
Ordinals Takeover.
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, because Edward Snowden's right, dude. There's nothing even close to as far as like interesting happening in the Bitcoin, even like the broader like Web3 space than what's happening.
Yeah, I agree.
With Ordinals,
All right, that's it for us. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure you like and sign up for our newsletter at theblockrunner.com. And that's it. Thank you guys, and we'll catch you in the next video.
Peace.